Good morning, Manual Church. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all buzzing and looking forward to the weekend. My name is Danny Mutisia, and I have been a part of Emmanuel for about 6 years, a bit over that. And today we are going to be continuing from where we left off on Tuesday, and that's basically looking at the heart of the issue and specifically talking about the topic of money. We're going to be looking at a lesson from the Macedonian church about generosity, which ties into the topic of money that we've been looking at. And I'll dive straight into it and start off just by looking at 2 Corinthians 8, verses 1 to 5. And it says this: "And now, brothers, we want you to know about the grace that God has given the Macedonian churches. Out of the most severe trial, their overflowing joy and their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. For I testify they gave much as they were able, and even beyond their ability. Entirely on their own, they urgently pleaded with us for the privilege of sharing this service to the saints. And they did not do as we expected, but they gave themselves first to the Lord and then to us in keeping with God's will." Wow. So I guess, as Tim Sales noted a couple of weeks ago, those of us living in the UK are amongst the wealthiest civilizations on earth today. Obviously, we all have our challenges and needs, but overall, as a country, as a population, broadly speaking, I think we're very well off as compared to others, and especially as compared to the early churches in Macedonia. I think we can draw great lessons from the passage and from the actions of the Macedonian churches, but I'd like to focus on two this morning. Firstly, the text tells us that though in severe trial, and some versions of the text refer to this as a great trial of affliction, the churches found ways to be generous, and they were generous even beyond their ability. They were generous in spite of their extreme poverty, so that even in the midst of that extreme poverty, there was rich generosity. Secondly, the churches were overflowing in joy, even in the midst of this kind of these trials and the severe suffering. And this is particularly encouraging for us, especially in the context where we're living lives today within the confines put in place by various governments around the world, in the context of a global pandemic, where there's been a lot of heartache, there's been a lot of pain that's still ongoing. People have lost loved ones, others are suffering with mental health issues, and all sorts of other problems, economic as well. But it's so encouraging to draw from the Macedonian church that it's possible to be joyful and happy even when we're faced in times that are truly, truly difficult. So turning back to the generosity of the Macedonian churches, I think there are practical things that I'm challenged to do in response to that passage. There are things that, the things that we can each do will be very different. But first of all, I think, we could start by giving to perhaps our church, as Tim suggested, starting there, but also to other things. I mean, practically speaking, you might give to others who are on mission, who need our support, just like the Macedonian churches did for Paul and supported him in that way by giving. You might want to respond to a neighbor or friend in need who there are lots of people that have lost their jobs or been furloughed during this period in time, and it's difficult to know what different people are going through. But if you do sense a need of that nature, then and you have and you're able to share and give, then that's another way that we might be able to respond. I think it's totally up to you, but the most important bit, I think, is what it says at the end of verse 7. And it says this: that as we excel in faith, speech, and knowledge, we should also excel in the grace of giving. That's truly powerful for me, and I hope it challenges you in the same way as it does me. Have a great week, rest of the week, and enjoy your weekend. Cheers.